Namaskar. This is a straw. I'm going to make some perforations in it. I've already made some perforations in it already just to save time. So I'm going to pour some liquid into it. Oops, it drops. Oh my God, what's happening? You see, it drops. Why? Because of perforations. So now I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to wrap it up. This paper tape. I've wrapped it quite a number of times. Try to pass water. Oh, it still drops. Let me wrap more paper around it. Let me try to do the same thing again. Oh, it did not leak. Well, that's cool. So brain has millions of nerve cells called neurons. These neurons are exactly like this perforated straw. When we do anything, the electrical impulses go from one neuron to another, just like the liquid went through this straw. Every time you sit for learning a new skill for a long time, without break and distractions, these neurons keep on firing electrical impulses. And every time that happens, a substance called myelin gets accumulated on neurons, just like the paper tape in our straw experiment. When we sit for longer duration and keep on doing the same thing over and over again without distraction, these myelin sheds become more and more big. In fact, I should say these myelin sheds become denser, just like when we covered our straw with many layers of paper. When no electrical impulses leak, the skill gets internalized and we become productive. So scientists found out that productivity improvement happens when we concentrate, and concentration happens when there is no distraction. Now come on, how can you control the things that are happening around? For example, the thought of lip smacking chole bhature or pasta or what's featured on hot pages across the internet. In the world of Instagram and TikTok, our attention span is reducing. Procrastination is at all-time high. Productivity has taken a hit for many of us, especially on Mondays. And we are having a hard time concentrating on anything for a long time. Many books have been written on productivity, concentration, habits, focus, procrastination, attention, and whatnot. And when you Google best books on productivity, focus, concentration, or habits, it pukes the same list out every time. We buy these books, we read them, but to no avail. The reason is the 10,000 liters of breath that we inhale and exhale every day. Welcome to Unlearn with Ashish. I have battled my share of procrastination and loss of productivity in life in terms of getting 63% marks in 8th class, followed by 51% in 11th class, 76 percentile in CAT, and grade C in financial accounting in MBA. I have overcome procrastination in my life to achieve remarkable results also, like 87% in 12th, and believe me, it's a great score if I talk about the time when I did my 12th class. Followed by 99.79 percentile in CAT, topping service marketing in my MBA to doing excellent in my career. In my journey to defeat procrastination, and believe me, it is still continuing with same fervor as it started, I have realized two truths. First, you can't handle mind on the level of mind. Second truth, habits, both good and bad, don't stay forever. Now this is scary. Tell your mind not to think about the girl or boy you really like. It won't obey. The badass will not let you study, eat food, or definitely will make you anxious or depressed the more you try to convince it. Mind can't be handled on the level of mind. Try not thinking about a purple monkey dancing in golden skirt with yellow shoes. Oh yeah, you thought it. I guarantee you that no smoker will say that smoking is beneficial for health, but ask them how they started in the first place. Believe me, they became addicted to it after a prolonged usage, not with a single drag. And ask a daredevil who quit smoking how difficult was it for resisting a drag when it was available. Habits can bounce back easily. The good news is that these two truths can be controlled by breath. Breath takes you away from the superficial motivational talks and lip service. It works on the core. It makes you stable like a rock, energetic like lightning, smart like an owl, sharp like a sword, and focused like Arjun, who would pierce his aim with his astute mind and radiant eyes before taking it down with his arrow. Would you like to know how breath is the answer to all your riddles? Here you go. The first act of your life was breathing in, not crying. And the last one will be breathing out. In between, there is constant in and out of breath, fondly known as life. Everything in our life, everything in this universe has a rhythm. Rotation of Earth, revolution of planets, drifting apart of galaxies, beats of music, movement of blood in your body. And when anything is out of rhythm, it's destruction. For instance, heart attack happens when heart goes out of rhythm. Earthquake happens when earth goes out of rhythm. Let's decode this rhythm of breath. When we are angry, our breath is short and fast, like when we are sad, guilty, devastated, the breath is a long sigh and broken, without any rhythm. But when we are cheerful, happy, breath is light and deep. Sometimes we don't even realize that we are breathing. The way our breath changes according to our mood also changes if we deliberately change our breath. When we change our breath to a particular pattern that makes us happy, concentration improves. When concentration happens, productivity improves. When productivity improves, procrastination reduces. And when procrastination reduces, we become action-oriented, not dependent on mood. Books like Deep Work, UltraLearning, The Power of Habit, Atomic Habits, and many others that elaborate the techniques for developing concentration are only limited in their effect because they have some assignment for the readers at the end of every single chapter. But come on, if a procrastinating reader could get his lazy bottoms to do these assignments, he would not need these books in the first place. A voice from within rises, hey, read the knowledge first, we'll implement it later. To become a doer and action-oriented, we need to strengthen the core, which only happens through breath work. In childhood, I was not aware of this principle, so it happened spontaneously. For example, when I was competing with a girl who lived in the same street as I was, the pure thrill of defeating her would settle my breath and I would go on to study for hours. The streak continued in class 12th also when I finally defeated her. Few years later, when I grew up and challenges became more daunting, I learned a few breathing patterns like Bhastrika Pranayam, Anulom Vilom Pranayam, and the world-renowned breathing technique by the Art of Living Foundation, the Sudarshan Kriya, or Sky. I practiced Sky during my preparation for CAT, India's most competitive B-School examination, and I aced it. I remember going on for hours and hours without any wavering of mind while there was renovation happening in my home just outside my room. With Sky, I experienced my mind expanding and I getting more control of it. And then, for my further development, the knowledge present in the books that I mentioned in the beginning started to come into application. I'll now tell you how breath work changes your core and makes you retain knowledge. There are 72,000 nadis or channels in our body. This is an Ayurveda principle. Don't confuse nadi with nerve. Nadis are pathways or channels of life force energy or prana. The way fluids run throughout the body to provide us with nutrients and to cleanse us, prana also runs throughout the body to make us do stuff. You can think of prana as vibrations or the pulse that you can feel when your eyes is closed. It's very subtle. If you want to feel it, shake your hands vigorously like this for a few seconds and keep them on your lap and close your eyes. The tingling sensation that you feel is the prana. You can pause the video and do it for a few seconds. The way nerves help you transport fluids from one part of the body to another, these nadis or channels help the prana flow from one part of the body to another. What is interesting is that while we can't really cut open the body and see the nadis because they are just pathways of pranic currents, the trained yogis of the past have been able to empirically realize nadis, of which 3 are of highest consequence. They are called Ida, which arises in the left side of the body and it represents coolness. Second is Pingala, that arises in the right side of the body and it represents the heat. And Sushumna, that runs through the central channel of the spinal cord, exactly in the center of your body. At any given time, either your Ida would be dominant or Pingala would be dominant. You can again pause the video and see which particular nostril is working. There is a good chance that only one nostril will be working. In very rare cases, Sushumna, the middle one, would be dominant. And when Sushumna is dominant, both your nostrils are working with equal capacity. Yogis try to make Sushumna dominant for the most of the time. Sushumna is the nadi pathway that runs from the base of the spine to top of the head. And on this pathway, there are 7 dominant nadi intersection points that lie in straight line. These points are known as chakras. Now, these chakras are responsible for all your emotions, from lust to love, alacrity to lethargy, jealousy or greed to gratitude, and creativity to inertia. So if the energy or prana is flowing from base of the spine to top of the head, from bottom to top, you will feel all positive emotions, which will result in improving your concentration and productivity multifold. If the energy or prana is flowing from top to bottom, we feel absolutely rubbish, lazy, lustful, depressed. This flow of prana or life force energy is affected by what we consume the most. 3 to 4 liters of water a day maximum, but 10,000 liters of air. In fact, 90% of our nutrition comes from, and 90% of toxins are released from our body only through breath. And hence, to regulate our life force, it is important to streamline breathing using rhythmic breathing techniques or pranayama, like the Sudarshan prayer. It's been 10 years now that I'm practicing Sky, and I have overcome my strongest vices with it. This also helped me cure my sinusitis and dust or smoke-related allergies permanently. So that's about truth 1, that mind cannot be handled on the level of mind. You need breath. Now let's get on to the second one. Second truth, habits, good or bad, don't stay forever. Various books are dedicated to it. In fact, one of the earliest treatises of the world, written thousands of years ago by a scientist named Patanjali, states that if you want to culture anything of value, you need to practice it continuously for a long time without break and with honor. Various modern-day scientists have translated the same principle into 21-day and 40-day principle, but the efficacy of these principles depend on practicing that. Once again, breath is at the core of it. I have made no less resolutions in my life than a drunkard would have. There was a year when I revised the failed resolution every month on account of my parents' birthday, Mondays, their anniversaries, but I could not culture a good habit. Regular breath work ensures that your mind is in your control, especially when you are feeling lazy and you don't want to do stuff. It is about flow of the pranic current from base of the spine to top of the head through these chakras. Once you start doing breathing processes such as various pranayams and Sky, the upflow of pranic current will contribute to dominance of positive feelings associated with these chakras. Now, when you want to feel lazy, something within will help you overcome that feeling, and you will get up and start doing stuff. It's like, when you don't want to hit the gym, but your friend would just drag you there, and once you are there on treadmill for 5-10 minutes, you are in motion. Breath is that chape friend that will nag you till you drop the lethargy. I generally apply a famous principle called cue routine reward mechanism. When I wanted to cultivate the habit of yoga, especially the pranayama, my cue or hint was the blocked nose in the morning because I was having sinusitis. Because I was lazy to get up from the bed and spread a mat on the floor, I started doing Kapalbhati pranayama, a forceful exhalation through stomach, on my bed. That was my routine. Routine must be followed by a reward. It is important that your reward is the one that you value the most, just like your life. When I was battling sinus, I started Kapalbhati pranayam and my reward was phlegm. Yes, balgam. Wah. The phlegm that came out opened my sinuses and made me feel better. Follow the cue routine reward principle for 7 days, and then for 14 more days, and then for 19 more days, which will bring you to the 40-day schedule. First 7 days honestly will be difficult. Those first 7 days will require that ability inside you that you are able to overcome your mind whenever it wants you to slow down and become lazy. Breath is that friend that is going to help you with that. Next 14 days will be pretty easy. and last 19 days will be the easiest. With regularity, the habit you wanted to inculcate or leave will become as involuntary as brushing your teeth. I've shared links to Bhastrika and Anulom Vilom Pranayam in the description. It is an instant energizer and it will help you with headaches as well. If you are pregnant, don't do Bhastrika. If you are suffering from heart diseases, please consult your doctor before doing Bhastrika Pranayam. And yeah, I highly recommend Sudarshan Kriya Yoga. Learn it through a qualified Art of Living instructor through one of their programs. I haven't experienced anything more powerful and rewarding than this breathwork. You can message me on Instagram at Unlearn with Ashish about the upcoming Sudarshan Kriya programs, or you can explore www.artofliving.org for the same. That's it, and keep breathing. Namaskar.